What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Family Finance Friday with DJ the Money Coach and Nick Westbrooks. And this show is brought to you by the DJ the Money Coach team and the Seven Spheres of Money system. And before we head to tonight's beach, hit the right click instead of the left click. Hit the like button. Share with at least 5 people and hit that subscribe and notification bell so you can help us spread the message of the Pom Pom lifestyle movement, which is plenty of money, peace of mind, and we invite you to come join us on the beaches of the world. And tonight's beach is faith without works is dead, aka God cannot drive a parked car. So we're getting ready to tell you what that's all about, or DJ's gonna get into that. You know, I'm gonna let him tell it. I'm not gonna steal his thunder about how great he's feeling and how excited he is. So I'm gonna toss it over to him. So DJ, how you doing on this Friday night?
Hey Nick, as I always say, brother, any day above ground with your health is an exceptional day, and today is an extraordinary day. Without a doubt, brother. I mean, it's like you said, man, faith without works is dead. You can have all the faith in the world, ladies and gentlemen, but if you don't put that work in, you can't expect anything from it. And this is how God works in our lives, is that you do the work when nobody's watching you and expect miracles because you did the work. But you have to have humility in the process. And what do we mean by that? A lot of times you'll do a lot of work, you'll do a lot of right things, and you don't see anything. But the reality is that you are building in the spiritual world what will manifest in the real world. So that faith generates the work. That work sets you in motion to actually come into relationships that you would never imagine that are possible. And a lot of this stuff happens on a sliver. And it works this way. So I talked about this. It was about a month ago, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, about a month ago, I went to the Diaspora African Conference, right? And I went down there for the entire weekend, hung out, met some incredibly sharp people. In the process of meeting these people, you talk to them about, how you can help them, how there's a possibility for you to work together, and, people excited. But a lot of times, man, it's just excitement, or what I like to call ignorance on fire. A lot of people are just sending their representative. What do I mean by that? They're pretending to be who you want them to be, but they're not really that person in real life. So that's the representative, right? They're not being authentically them true selves. So in the process, you have to have discernment to see who's who, and just knowing that this is part of the deal that you have to participate, because that's part of the mechanism and the game that you play to find the right connection. We went out, we met a lot of sharp people. Everybody has good intentions, and sometimes it's just not a fit. However, sometimes it is a fit. So for me, this is typically what happens in my life. We meet people, we make authentic connections because I am who I say I am, and I'm not a representative of somebody you want me to be based on your perception, and I'm trying to impress you. So it always happens this way, Nick. You meet somebody, you hit it off with them, you make good, contact, and you just keep it moving. So last minute, which always seems to be the case in my life, I get a call. I get a call yesterday out of the blue. Amazing gentleman that I met. And he says, hey, man, I know we tried to connect. I've been busy since the time we met, but I had a lot of things going. But, man, you really impressed me. And I want to know, hey, man, are you in town? Because I want to introduce you to the person that I told you about. And I'm like, hey, man, yeah, I'm in town, but I'm busy right now. But we can connect tomorrow. Hey, man, you're at the top of our list of connecting. I said, okay, cool. Well, how about we meet over here? I gave him a location for us to meet at, one of my favorite spots, which I call it my cheers. Shout out to Vino and Vinyl. Man, get a lot of amazing things accomplished at Vino and Vinyl. So that's a free plug. So we said, hey, man, let's connect. I got the guy that I've been telling you about, my best friend that I've been knowing for 2 decades. And this person, I think we're going to have a great connection. Get over to the spot. We sit down, man. We start talking. We chopping it up. And lo and behold, man, it is a super kinetic meeting where we're actually have the pieces of the puzzle that they need, the pieces of the puzzle that we need, and then the pieces of the puzzle that the entire ecosystem would benefit from. And all of this, again, happened because constantly doing the work, constantly doing the work, constantly doing the work when you see no results, constantly doing the work. And as we're talking about the things that we have, opportunities, which are, challenges that are just opportunity disguised, like, yeah, man, we can plug this, we can plug that. Man, you can plug this and plug that for me. And all of a sudden it's like, wow, man, isn't it amazing how things work? And then there's one conduit to it. I said, hey, it's funny, when I met you, which was the second or the third day out of the diaspora event, it's one of those social events that I really wasn't going to. But I said, hey, I'm going to go because I met this sharp business guy named Rudy. And Rudy connected the person that I connected with tonight. And he said the same thing. Man, I'm super busy, but Rudy's such a great guy. I'm going to go to this event. And in the process of going to that event, we both connected, and we're sitting down at Vino and Vino tonight and say, hey, man, only reason why I came out to that night was because of Rudy. I said, man, isn't that a coincidence? Only reason why I came back the second night is because of Rudy. Where does the faith come in? The faith was that I believed that there was something of value in Rudy, that I put the work in, that I went out of my way to go to this event that's an hour away from my home, that's inconvenient, no guarantees of anything to come out of it, and went there regardless of the outcome. I put the work in. I went in, I worked, I networked, I explained what we're about. I made the connections. I formed them, which we talked about, Nick. I got the data authentically, sincerely, understood where they were coming from. This gentleman happens to be in the medical and the technology field. I have a background in technology, as well as my family is in the medical field, was at a significant level, at the level where, players make things happen. So I was able to authentically, Nick, connect by talking about stuff that you had to have experience to know about. You couldn't just make it up. So we're talking about things, for instance, about compound medicines and pharmaceuticals that I know about. And then I start talking about some stuff that we're doing. He's talking about some stuff we're doing. He said, hey, man, what are you doing here? Man, I'm doing some stuff over in Zanzibar. You know what? My best friend, born and raised in Tanzania, out of Arusha and Dar. Wow. Hey, man, no big deal. And actually his family is well connected. And I told him about you, and I told him, hey, man, you're doing some amazing things over there, which is uncommon with Americans. That you actually own something concrete, Nick. So we're sitting down, out of all the people they could have met, because his friend only came in town to do business on the medical side. And he said, look, you ain't getting out of here. Only here for 3 days. You got to meet DJ, the money coach. And that's from a 15-minute conversation, Nick. Because the faith in me, I went and did the work. I did the form, family, occupation, message, connected, showed authenticity. That's like 5 weeks ago. Because if I'm not mistaken, that was like February 25th to February 26th. That's like 5 weeks ago. Hadn't heard from the gentleman since. And he says, not because I wasn't trying to connect with you. I'm busy. And after sitting down with him again, this guy is ultra uber busy. But he never forgot me, because I made an indelible impression about what we're about and what we're doing that connected to what he's trying to do big time. Thus, we sit down, start talking, And here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have a bunch of doubts in your life. You're going to wonder if you're on the right track. And you're going to think that, hey, man, God owes you something. But God owes you nothing. God cannot steer or drive a parked car. You have to get out of your comfort zone and take that faith, the size of a mustard seed, and do the work again and again and again and again. And then sometime, someplace that you have no control over, but you have control over one thing, the work, the discipline. And then he's going to immediately make things great for you because you have done the work. So I changed my schedule so I can meet with these people. They changed their schedule so they can meet with me, all on the basis of their faith and discernment of having qualified us in that initial 15-minute interaction. Now, some challenges that we've been experiencing might just go away just like that. Some opportunities that they have that we have an expert skill set in might be able to help them scale up faster than they anticipated. Because the beauty of it is that they have a certain set of skills. We have a certain set of skills that create that interdependent relationship, Nick. Amazing how that works. And on top of that, found the right place, conducive environment where we can sit down, have a great, relaxed business, but social interaction that everybody be comfortable, love the atmosphere, love the experience. The food is great. The conversation is on point, and the business is right where we want it to be. Now, there's nothing that could have had transpired if the faith wasn't strong enough to do the work when you're not seeing results. What do I mean? Every day, Monday through Friday, 100 calls, 100 emails, 100 direct messages. A lot of times not getting the results that you want, but you know you're in the right place at the right time. And they were asking me, they're like, man, how could somebody like you take such a leap of faith and invest in Zanzibar? I said, well, it was a leap of faith, but I study businesses. I said, I happen to read this, white paper business book that was written about East Africa specifically. And I happen to take my experience of doing my cleaning business by having studied and applying. Remember, we talked about this last week. Nothing happens without application. Applying what I learned through the book, Good to Great. Good to Great showed me the model to build successful business in America. Africa Rising showed me the model to build successful businesses, but more importantly, super opportunities in Africa that are diamonds in the rough, not for everybody. So as I'm sitting down here at the table with my two compatriots, and the one who's born and raised in Tanzania is telling me all the things that are happening that we have experienced and how people try to push you out. And I'm being polite. He was like, hey, man, you don't have to be polite with me because I know what you're going through. And I know how it looks on how they pushed out. He said, hey, let's keep it real. He said, this segment of our people are great people. This segment of our people are, not so good. This segment of our people, they praise other people just because the complexion of their skin. Wow. Isn't that something? He said, so, hey, man, you can keep it a buck with me because I'm from there. And so that just opened the floodgate, because before, we go over there, I'm being me. I'm like, hey, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything, but I'm like, hey man, we gotta take us. No, man. Hey, this is what happens. These people, it's all about the people you know. But when the people who are on the know that you are making impact in their economy and they're not appreciating, but they're doing it for the person of the other complexion, that's a problem. The moral of the story is a lot of people quit when times get challenging because they lack faith in a higher power. Thus, they lack faith in themselves. Thus, if they don't get things their way, the exact way they expect it to happen, they quit. But then they have built 3/4 of the road, and somebody comes up and picks up the baton and finish the last quarter of the road, and they get all the success, all the accolades, and all the wealth. But they would not have been in position to do that if you did not build 3/4 of the bridge. And the key part is you had to have faith in a higher power, but faith in the work, faith in the study, the scholarship of learning about the endeavor that you are pursuing. That's just like right now. If you had a young student and you didn't tell them, hey, put your eggs, if you're going to put in any basket, put it in AI and data. That is the future, regardless of what you believe. AI and data is the future. That's no different than back in the mid-70s. They said computers are the future. Matter of fact, personal computers are going to be the dominant factor in the millennium to build the whole entire world. But you might not have believed that. That same person back in the 50s, they said plastics are the future. But those people did the work, the study, the data. They saw what drives people. No difference than when we talked about last week about 1.75 trillion worth of credit card debt. If you are just a passive and active investor and you wanted something to invest in, hey, buy shares in credit card companies, because guess what? People, especially in the Western Hemisphere, they're not giving up their credit cards. I just saw a program literally last night on American Greed about a congressman. Him and his wife were living off the company's credit card to sustain this out of the world lifestyle that they couldn't afford, that they was using the campaign money through the company credit card to fund their campaign to get reelected as a congressman. And guess what? This guy, he openly said, hey man, is that a crime to being broke? But it's a crime to misappropriate funds. But the reality is, what he was saying is, guess what? We all as Americans have been taught to live above our means by the tutelage of what? Credit. So if I'm just observant and very aware of habits of people generally, how many people in America that are adults that don't use credit? Very few don't. The majority of them, 98% of them, are credit purchasers because they buy stuff that they can't afford. They put it on credit. So if I'm observant enough, I can look and say, hey, man, I might be wise to invest in some credit. Buy some shares in credit. I might be wise to see that everything is going automated information. I might be wise to invest in some AI, or I might be wise and get me some skill sets in AI to be ahead of the future. So the fact that you were a student, you did the research enforced your faith. Thus, you continue to put the work in when you don't see results. So my faith came from the fact that I had seen this model, Nick, in America. Clarence and me, back in 2006, we saw a market that was growing in the Detroit metropolitan area, and we invested and we started building. And then we saw the market grow, we saw it collapse, but then we saw a new model come out of it that was even better from the collapse, where you could take properties that were worth X, that were devalued, but then cash flow them and own them outright and create significant financial independence and wealth. And I said, whoa, wait a minute. This model may work in Zanzibar. And because I did the research, had success in America, I said, hey, before everybody else, we're going to get over in Zanzibar. And there's going to be some challenging times and some choppy water. But if you can stay the course, you're going to have massive success. And because that faith, doing the work and constantly moving forward, occasionally you do have some doubts, but then something just tells you, hey, you did make the right decision. Look at the economics. Look at the growth that's happening. Look at the things around you and look at the improvement in the area. What happens in the next 3 to 5 years when the dust settles and you're still there, man, and you happen to have a connection, you might just win big time. However, you can't expect God to give you anything just because you have a belief. You have to do the work. You have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to make yourself available when it's not convenient for you to be available, because you don't know what you don't know. In order for you to be blessed and have that faith manifest to actual productive results, you have to put the work in. You cannot play the blame game. Even when the moments are as most dark, if you have done the right work, your faith will be rewarded eventually. And it's so refreshing and it's so encouraging to know that you're on the right path when you sit down with the right people at the right time, and knowing that that would have never materialized if it wasn't for your actions, but your actions would have never happened if it wasn't for your faith. And your faith would not have been given to you if you didn't believe in a higher power, and if you didn't believe that God's no respecter of person, that he allows everybody to be successful if they have the faith and if they do the work. That's the greatest thing about it. And what's amazing is, again, man, love sports. So again, March Madness is happening right now. Right now, March Madness is going on as we speak. And you have teams that have surprisingly won that weren't expecting to win, but they have the faith, but they put in the work. They put up the shots. They put in the rebounds. They hustled. They bust their butt. And God blessed them with the reward. So the Houston Cougars, they got knocked off. They're fighting the Illini. They won because they outworked them. That's considered to be a mild upset because Houston had a stifling defense. But the Illini came in with the mindset that, you know what, we can beat anybody. And when they won, they said, hey, why do you think we won? The young man who was a freshman, he said, man, because we've been putting the work in. And we expected success. And he had a humility about him that was very refreshing. He didn't have arrogance. He just said, hey, what do you expect? If I put the work in, why am I putting the work in? I'm putting the work in because I have faith that if I do the right work the right way with the right mindset, we'll be rewarded. It's a team victory. And a lot of times what prevents us from being truly successful is that we are always thinking about me, mine, and I. And one of the great things about the sit down tonight was we were collectively, all of us, talking about us, our, we. How can we help you? It wasn't, hey, man, what's in it for me? It's, hey, how can I help you? And just the little things, Nick. So my two guys who came to sit down with me, they got caught up in traffic. And it was, happy hour at my spot. And the happy hour is about to, expire because they got caught up in traffic. So I said, hey, let me just order a few appetizers. So I hit them up. Hey, man, hey, happy hour is going to go. Hey, what do you guys make? Boom. So I get a couple of 2-3 appetizers. And consideration. You know what I mean? I get the appetizers. They show up after happy hour. Oh man, you orders? Yeah, man. Hey, I got something, a little bit of everything. Don't know what you guys might like, but I figured, I didn't want to be rude. At the same time, I figured, hey man, you want to take advantage of the, happy hour? We said, man, cool. Boom. You like this? Boom. Hey man, got my guy who I know. Man, let's hook him up with it. Man, just that consideration went a long ways because the fact that we thought about them. The faith was, hey, you know what? I said, hey, man, I didn't mention it. I said, but after we had such a very successful and productive meeting, I said, hey, you know what? I actually believe so much in this opportunity just to sit down with no guarantees. I didn't do my show that I normally do. Oh, man, you'd have to, hey, man, I said, hey, this was more of a blessing of opportunity, regardless of what the outcome was, is the fact that you came across town. Your partner came in town for a couple of days to handle some business that had nothing to do with me, but you thought I was so important to meet. I gave you the same consideration. In the end, it all worked out. Even if it didn't work out, the fact is you put the work in so God can open up another door that you don't know that he has available for you. That's the greatest part. It's just like working out physically. You work out, you may not see the immediate results. It hurts. It's inconvenient. Man, it doesn't feel good. But then next thing you know, you're doing it. And all of a sudden somebody, man, dude, look at the transformation that you've made in your body and your mind and your spirit. But now the opposite of that, where people are so concerned about their time. So I had, an annual, doctor's visit today. And I had, to correct some stuff on my carrier's information. I'm 1 minute late past what they call their grace period, and they refused to see me. So I asked the nurse who was, at the front desk, I said, man, this is amazing. So I said, so the grace period was 15 minutes. I said, so I got here 1 minute after. You can't go ahead and still see me when I've been here before, and I've sat when they bring you behind the door and sit you in the little medical room. And I've sat in the room, Nick, for 45 minutes waiting for the physician to come see me and no consideration for my time. And when I explained that to the lady, I said, the reason why I'm late is because I realized that my new insurance carrier had the wrong physician, and I had to get that corrected so that you guys can get paid. And she immediately told me, well, the doctor, he's so busy. He's not only a PCP, primary care physician, but he's also a sports medicine doctor, and he can't get behind. Oh, I said, so my time is not important. Now, what does that have to do with tonight's show? The reality is guess what? They thought so less about my time but the opposite. Here's two people who actually are in the medical field, like them, who came into town and they thought more about my time. Thus, I stayed at the location, even though because of traffic that they couldn't control, Nick, they weren't able to show up. until an hour and 10 minutes after originally agreed to meet. I could have got up and said, hey, man, forget about it. I got to do my show and catch you next time. But I didn't do that. And I knew nothing about what the opportunity was, but hey, I knew this guy was sharp. I knew this guy, had, some roots in the ground, didn't know what exactly the roots were. So I stayed. Now, my physician and his nurse, now, if I would have had better value to them, maybe they would have let me, still get my annual physical, even though I was 1 minute past the grace period. However, when I sat in that office last year, when I got there on time, 10 minutes ahead, and sat in the room, looked up, and I'm like, man, dude, when is this dude going to come in office? 45 minutes later, after I went up and said, oh, well, he'll be in there, didn't give a rip about me. Oh, we'll reschedule you. Oh, okay. Now, what if I had an opportunity for him to help him make some more money? He didn't blown that. She didn't blown that. Because that's the only thing they value. The moral of the story is, ladies and gentlemen, put the work in. Put it in with enthusiasm in your heart. And expect miracles to happen because you put the work in. And when they do happen, handle them with the humility of a humanitarian so that God can bless you and be a blessing to somebody else. And anytime you get frustrated, disappointed, and doubt, make sure that you did the research and make sure that you put your faith in the man upstairs, and make sure that you don't play the blame game when things don't go your way, but also make sure that you're continually to do the work that you will expect a great thing to happen to you because you have done the work, because you believe in the faith that God's no respecter of any person. This is the moral of the story. It's just like Dave Thomas, who is the founder of Wendy's, said, people always saying I'm lucky. He said, it's amazing. The harder and smarter I work, the luckier I become. Because I have an indelible faith in God and in the dream and the purpose that he's given me, that I keep working without being frustrated or being in a mindset that I'm doing something for nothing. That's the key element. Just like doing this show, ladies and gentlemen. If we can help one person that is in a similar situation where they've done work, they're not seeing results, but they know they're doing the right work and they just need somebody just to believe in them, to support them, then we've done our job. Mm-hmm. But if we're always thinking about what's in it for me, and especially there's a passage in the Bible says everybody's your friend when you're winning. When you got all the money, all the food, and all the drink, you got multitude of friends. However, when nothing's working, nobody wants to be affiliated with you. Mm-hmm. But that's the test that God is rendering to see if you're going to be faithful for the blessing, because he wants to be glorified, not you. And this is the lesson that we a lot of times miss because we have been taught to be materialistic and be capitalist without really wanting just to truly help people for the sake of helping. And I've been that person as well. because I'm human. The great thing is, ladies and gentlemen, is that when you see how God in an instance can change your life for the better because you've done the work based on the faith in him, it makes everything worth it. That's the amazing piece. So I can be nothing but excited, but most importantly, grateful. Grateful that God has said, hey, you're doing the work, you're doing the right work, and you're passing these tests that I'm putting in front of you, because as you go up to the top of the mountain, what happens? The landscape gets thinner and slimmer. And at the apex, it's very small space, because each test eliminate those who lack faith, who lack work, who like doing the right research. And those are the ones that create significance. And those are the ones that, legends and stories are written and told about, because they weren't doing it to be a legend. They weren't doing it for the stories. They were doing it for the capacity to help people be better. And at the end of the day, that's what we're doing in Africa and Zanzibar, is to do things to make things better for them, even when they don't even realize it. And that's the key component. And that's what these two gentlemen asked me, like, man, why would you just go off on the deep end and come to Africa and this part of Africa, Zanzibar, and invest and do so much without having been there before? I said, because I did the research, I studied, and I knew what the long-term impact could be. And at the end of the day, I also knew who was there taking from the people who were naive. And I said, why should we allow that to happen? And yes, I realized too that if we did the right thing for the right reasons, there will be a blessing as well. Take your faith, do the research, and do the work with happiness in your heart, so that you don't cut off your blessing that God's going to give you. Because a lot of people, include myself in the past, will do the work, but then we'll complain. And then we wonder why we're never getting blessed. Because God says, oh, so you're not doing this with the enthusiasm in your heart. So I'm going to give your blessing to somebody else. And you say, that's not right. Well, guess what? When you get the success, you weren't going to give the glorification to God anyway. You're going to say, hey, I'm a one self-made man, one self-made woman. But however, I can't take credit for anything that transpired tonight or yesterday, because that was all God. Pure and simple. My phone rang out of the blue. I'm on a call. I see the guy's number kept. No, man, let me answer this call. Hey, man, what's going on, man? Boom, boom, boom. Hey, yeah, man. Hey, hey, no problem. Hey, man, can you meet right now? I can't meet right now, but hey, man, I was telling you about my best friend, and we got to meet you. He's in town just for 2 days. Oh, wow. Okay. Let's make this happen. But between here and February 27th, and from that one time meeting him, I have been still doing the work, as has he has still doing the work. And now, potentially, some significant things can manifest for the benefit of the community, Nick. And all three of us, we talked about, say, hey, there's got to be 3 wins in a relationship for this to be successful and significant. Win number 1 is about them, their constituents, their clients. That's win number one, Nick. Win number two, they win because they offered a superior product and service to their constituents. They win. Win number three, because their clients got a superior product and service, they paid them a great profit. And because they made a great profit, Nick, we win. But if you go into any relationship thinking about me, mine, and I only, that's only going to last for a short period of time. People are going to see right through you. And guess what? It's okay to be a capitalist, but you have to be a compassionate capitalist. And a compassionate capitalist creates products and services for the benefit of the people, first and foremost, to make their lives better. In the process of doing that, without expecting things immediately, they are blessed long term. These are the benefits. And on top of that, there's another saying I read in Proverbs 27 today. It said, let the people praise you instead of you praising yourself. Man, talk about that. Here it is. Awesome, super qualified gentleman that I met just for 15 minutes. And he's talking up, edifying me to his buddy of 20 years as if I was the greatest thing since sliced bread. And he said to me, he said, hey, you know what, DJ? He said, hey, man, forget about what you're doing in Africa. I had an authentic like for you because you came across as authentic, caring, and wanting to help our community do better. And I wanted to help you. And you know what they say? People do business with who? People they like. Long term. Please get this message. Please surround yourself with the right people. Have a discriminating mentality as it pertains to the people you want in your inner circle. Maintain a high characteristic quality about yourself. At the end of the day, you can't take any of this stuff with you. However, your legacy can change many lives through your servitude mentality. It all starts with the proper vertical alignment. Put God, family, business, and everything else after that. And understand this. This is what my grandfather taught me. He said, hey, if you lose money, you lost nothing. It can be replaced. You lose an associate or a peer, you lost something. But if you lose the name on the back of the jersey, it took me 30 years to build, for you to lose it and mess it up in 30 seconds, you lost everything. But because I was authentically myself on the 26th or the 27th of February, and Rudy, who was the conduit between me and Randall, and he edified me and I edified him to Rudy, we were able to have a blessing today that came completely out of left field, but it really didn't, because in the spiritual world, God was already saying, hey, if you are this good, faithful servant, by doing the work, I'm going to open up this next door that you have no control over, no matter what you do. But you can control it by what you didn't do. Were you humble? Were you grateful? Were you gracious? Were you respectful? And most importantly, are you going to give the praise and glory to me, or are you going to give it to yourself? This is my full acknowledgement that God blessed us today. And I fully know that these people are going to be a beneficial blessing to our community, to our organization. I also know we're going to be a great blessing to them as well. So the essence of those 5 principles, Nick, again, they come full front all the time. Boom. Number 1, we practice cooperative economics. Number 2, we do leveraging of our networks. Number 3, we build ecosystems. And when you do cooperative economics with your heart, your mind in the right place for the right reason, and you leverage professional networks and create an ecosystem, you now create the most important thing for legacy, which is equity and ownership. And it's amazing, Nick, just like John C. Maxwell talks about, you attract to who you are authentically all the time. I'm sitting across the table and we're talking and they're saying the same stuff that I say without me even saying it. So it naturally is a connection. Isn't that amazing how that works? As they always say, you don't have to believe in gravity, but go up to the top of your house and step off and see what happens. These principles, of these 5 principles I talked about, you don't have to believe them, but this is how it works. And this is the positive side of it when you do the work for the right reasons. And guess what? Anything worth having, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to require work. It's also going to always be challenges that are disguised opportunities. And it's meant to be that way because God wants to, eliminate the non-believers. And typically, you might get frazzled the first time, you might get frustrated the second time, but generally the third time you quit. I was thinking about again with the Houston Cougars and the Arkansas Razorbacks. So both of them have these 2 freshmen that they call them one and done. So the freshman from Houston, he had an average game. But if he really wanted to be successful, why not stay another year in college and overcome? Because he was kind of crying at the end. But guess what? You already thinking about you're going to be a top 10 draft pick in the NBA, but did you accomplish anything other than you're going to get the bag? But if you really want to prove that you're a real winner, how about come back with that team, keep it together, and win again? But no, you're not. Same thing with the Arizona Razorbacks. Their freshman, he scored 28 points and he scored 60 points in the 2 previous games. They got blown out by Arizona, embarrassed. Largest defeat in Calipari's coaching career. But guess what? That kid, Oakcliffe or whatever his name is, he didn't seem too upset about it because he already thinking, hey, man, I'm going to be one of the top 5 picks. I'm going to get millions of dollars, but you ain't won nothing other than a material game, but you're not going to be known as a winner. Now, you're probably saying, hey, man, you probably do the same thing if you're in a, well, it all depends. There's people who come back because they know they're already, but how about developing and have something that you can show for it? Yeah, because you're going to go to the pros. And what are you going to win other than the financial lottery? But you already won that because you were brought into this world with the same level of intelligence and the same level of gifts physically, that just depends on how well you actually turn those into professional skill sets. So as I'm watching that, I'm like, man, dude, I probably would come back another year. I got a special team. We can redo this. And even if I got hurt, there's a thing called insurance that can get me still into the pros because I'm already a 1%er. What does that have to do with this message? It has a lot to do, because you're going to expect that because you did so much work that you expect certain level of success. And then when that certain level of success does not happen, if you have another option to get that money instead of continue to develop that character and that skill set, you're going to opt to go get that money, but you're underdeveloped because they're only giving you that money based on what? Potential. Would you rather be known as an average person, but you made a lot of money? But then statistics tell us that the average NBA player, once they're out of the league, 75% of them are dead broke. The average NFL player, once they're out of the league, 80% of them dead broke and divorced. But perhaps you stay one more year, take that experience of that what perceived to be a disappointment, but take that, go back into the factory, into the lab, as they say, get better, review the tape, and come back stronger mentally and also prepared for the different, schemes that they throw at you, and then win. And then really know the thrill of true winning, a championship. So, man, great time to be alive. As I say, any day above ground with your health, it gets no better than that, ladies and gentlemen. So why not, in our community, double down on the work because of the faith, because you did the research, and you do it with humility, with a grateful heart, and then allow God to bless you and allow somebody else to toot your horn, because really it's not who you know, but it's who knows you to open up those doors. And like my guy said tonight, he said, hey man, them little challenges you having, we can remedy that in a phone call, because who we know. And because we know you and you're authentic and you're doing great things for our country and our island, man, we need to be helping you out, because you're bringing opportunity, jobs, education, and prosperity to our people, and they don't even appreciate it. Think about it. We have all these platforms out here, right? And we have people out here, Nick, ladies and gentlemen, and they're talking about silly stuff. Grown men talking about they're going to jump on and, on site. Grown men, 40s, 50s, talking about they're going to get at each other. But whenever you hear them talking about, Nick, we're going to work together. We're going to help make our community better. We're lucky we're in 1%, but we're going to take this animosity of what? You both have won. Hello, knuckleheads. You both have hit the financial lottery, but you want to talk about, because you got more shine than I got, I want to take you down. However, we don't see that happening in other communities. And even if we did, they don't put it on Broad Street 9 out of 10 times. But very rarely do we magnify meetings like I had. Wow, look at this. This is how brothers, sisters work together in the positive. That's not sexy. But guess what? That's how real stuff gets done. But guess what? That doesn't sell because positivity is boring. We need sensationalism. We need, made up stuff so people can be entertained. So we can sell what? Advertisements. Those same advertisements, Nick, took for that company to have faith in your platform to invest dollars that you would attract eyeballs that they can sell something to. And they do a lot of work to make that happen. And they do it based on the data, the demographics. Isn't that amazing? Principles for right work the same way that people do it for wrong. These are universal principles of success, Nick. And that person who doesn't want to do the right thing, but they want to be successful, they are doing the same principles and doing the same work, and they have faith and greed that they do the things that they're not supposed to so that they can get paid. But because that greed comes quicker, they take that path instead of going the right way, which is so much longer, but it has a long-term success rate. I also was watching another show about El Chapo. And it's amazing. I'm watching this program again on American Greed. And the reason why it was so amazing to me was because they showed that these guys created a network in my hometown of Chicago and created the biggest drug cartel in Chicago for El Chapo. Two twin brothers who, had the ability to build networks and not only flooded Chicago, the Midwest, the West Coast with cocaine, they also flooded the same networks with heroin and opioids. But the reality is they did the same skill sets that they would have been successful in corporate America or just regular businessmen, but it wouldn't have came in so fast. And the irony of it is both of the brothers, they married two ladies that parents worked in the police field. But they were, oh man, it was so glamorous and this, that, and other. And they glorifying a short-term lifestyle. We hope, ladies and gentlemen, that you get something out of these, episodes that we share with you, because like I said several shows ago, our purpose in 2026 is to give you authentic, solid things that can provide value to your life, your community, without all the hoopla and all that stuff. But these are core principles of success that are for long term. And the one thing I'm excited about is having the ability to see a couple of decades go by and now see my inner circle friends have true long-term success, put their time in for 20 years, retired, still young, still healthy. And now they're going to have a freedom that's unparalleled to what the majority of people are chasing. We don't know what we don't know, but however, we now know enough that we can help the people coming behind us to make this happen. That's the most important thing, ladies and gentlemen. So if you have somebody that is young and they believe that they can get everything in a New York minute, hey, tell them, look, let me share this with you. Let me show you how to build a proper network. And let's look out on the horizon when you're going to be 45, 50 years of age. You probably can't even think that far ahead. But eventually, if you do the right things, you're going to be here. And when you get through all that play and everything and realize that you're still going to be young, but you don't have anything left because you burned so many bridges and did so many things wrong because you didn't expect to have a life then, you can have regret, or you can have the faith. Surround yourself with the proper people, with the proper guidance, do the principles of success, and have a long-term legacy of peace, prosperity, and create a platform that can be, multiplied 10 times over. That's essence. And then what's most importantly, realizing that you are not the enemy of the woman, and the woman is not the enemy of the man, and we can come together collectively and get this nuclear family back on course because you have the courage and the wisdom and the guidance to do the right thing versus the popular thing. So I would ask you to do us only one favor. Like this message, share this message, subscribe to this message. They're all free. And what I also would ask yourself to do for yourself is to sit down, take inventory of where you are. If you're having a great life, how are you impacting somebody else? Remember we said last week, your passion is only about you. Your purpose is about helping others. I would try to pivot and get purpose and allow the passion to drive it. And guess what? You'll still get the reward because God is going to bless you because of that. So tonight's message, faith without works is dead. God can't park. God can't drive or steer a parked car. So do the work. Have faith. Trust in God. Surround yourself with the right people and have the right purpose. And things will work out perfectly fine. But it's not going to be easy. It's simple, but it's never easy. And anything worth having requires work. It requires investment. And most people are not willing to do that because we have been, addicted to this drug called attention deficit disorder on these social platforms to show us things that are not real and perceptions that are not reality for the common man and woman. So on behalf of the amazing Nick Westbrooks, I'm DJ the Money Coach. I want to thank you for, patronizing our Family Finance Friday. And we hope you will have plenty of money and peace of mind on your journey to true success, because faith with works wins all the time. We'll see you next time, ladies and gentlemen. God bless.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special announcement. Thanks to Chicago's very own DJ the Money Coach, we're celebrating the sponsorship for Ask a Brother podcast and the grand opening of our luxurious resort in Zanzibar, Tanzania. DJ's giving away an incredible grand prize in March, a 7-day, 6-night stay in paradise, complete with ground transportation, incredible excursions, your own personal chef on the white sand beaches, and breathtaking sunsets. All you have to do is text BROTHA, BROTHA, to 972-640-9572, or scan the QR code for your chance to win. Pack your bags and we will see you in paradise. Again, text BROTHA, BROTHA, to 972-640-9572. Coach Britt here, coming at you here from beautiful Paje, Zanzibar. So we've got some exciting news coming for you guys. I want you to join me out here for some amazing fitness and wellness retreats. This is going to to be an experience of a lifetime. You're going to have the opportunity to come out here, experience the beauty of this area. And I'm going to introduce you right now to the man who's behind it all right here. This is DJ, the Money Coach. He is the owner of Pom Pom Suites.
So thank you, Brittany. Won't you guys come join us for 7 days, 6 nights as we partner with the amazing Coach Rodriguez in paradise. I'll see you on the beaches of the World Club right here in Zanzibar.
Everything. We're going to give you a master training, 3-hour course, 2 consultations. We're going to teach you how to build credit up to $100,000 interest-free for 18 months. Pay off your home in 7 to 10 years. And most importantly, create $8,333 a month in passive income. It's a $997 course. You get it all today for $97. Hit that link and beat me to the master training. I am DJ the Money Coach. Do us a favor, share, like, and subscribe, and help us help you have a pom-pom lifestyle. That's plenty of money, peace of mind. Come join us on the Beaches of the World Club. Remember, share, like, subscribe.